Yo, what's up guys, Seiishizo over here, and let's talk about the Dark Monkey Zhongshan Lao. It's a unit I owned for a very long time. I think it's my second or third LD5 that I had. And currently it's actually doing incredibly well. So if we look at the statistics on this side, in G3, it's not that many matches yet on the record, but 10% pick rate, which is very high, and 52.90 on the win rate. That's absolutely insane for G3. If we're looking at G1, it's lower on the pick rate, 51.50 on the win rate, bit lower over there. But throughout all ranks, it's actually having like a 51.5 plus win rate. So definitely one of those units you might start picking up. So what is the main thing that he has recently been picked up a lot for? Well, he now has the block them from removing harmful effects for 1 turn. And that is with each of the hits. So there's a pretty high chance to actually land that, because it's an 85 chance times 2. So landing the defense break, landing the stun, and also landing this is very high chance. So the big question is how to actually rune him right now. And rather than me trying him out, I actually saw him being used a lot in the APEC region in SWC. So I'm going to go over those matches, talk about how it is used, when it is used in RTA, and then also figure out from there what kind of build they were running. One thing I do want to mention is that he's still a little bit on the awkward side for his scaling on damage, and therefore damage scaling might not be that interesting, which is his base attack is a 692, whereas his skill 1, full attack scaling, skill 2, full attack scaling, skill 3, half attack scaling, half HP scaling. So the high HP that is on this unit is also only used for very little scaling that is actual on the unit. So that is a little bit awkward on him, but let's see how it looks like for those matches in SWC. So first match that it was shown in was the match of Yan Hong against Nicholas, both of them showing a bit of LDs. Also a lot more Joe Gun plays. Joe Gun play into a Dark Monkey play is very strong, and I think it's one of those great setups that does work very well. Mainly because you have a good AoE strip into a good AoE setup on everything. He does also use this one over here, which is the hacker, which is definitely a lot of setups. I would also say on this case, normally you would maybe like to go into some kind of form of a Nobara or Juno or whatnot. Big issue is with all of this together is that this unit, the Jogan, will actually remove that Nobara altogether. So few options out there. While I do like this draft quite a bit, it does have some speed contested, but then again, on the other side, we also have 2 speed leads already, plus a speed contested here too. We go for Chow. Chow is maybe a potential solo for these units, but actually I kind of don't really think that the Chow can really solo those, because good multi-hits, good multi-hits, good multi-hits, and good multi-hits in general would kind of tend to take out a Chow. So let's see what we have for a final pick. We have a final pick of an Athna. If you remove the Joe Gun, Athna pretty much reigns hell up all of that. So Athna's banned. Chow is actually respected as well. I think you could have ignored the Chow. Like, I think Chow would have not been the worst. I think banning out the Joe Gun would have probably been more interesting. So let's slow it down a little bit more. So first of all, we have the skill of the Joe Gun being, or like of that one being hit over there. Then we have just an S2 potential right now. You can't really go for an S3. What you can do is an S2 on this one over here. Does actually go for that as well. So at least the Rain of Stones doesn't get on you. So that is a good potential that the monkey does have. But I think from this point on, it will get stunned. Let's actually speed it up a little bit more, because I think from this point on, he's already really on the back foot. And I don't really see, unless the monkey procs out on Vio, which this definitely does seem to be a Vio one rather than Swift. It does have very high base speed. So it's reset over here. So I don't think the monkey is going to be able to do anything as of this moment anytime soon. Nope, not being able to do anything. Armor break over there. I think he should focus the Misty later, because the Misty is the only unit that actually does have sustain of this whole team. So if you kill it all the way last, yeah, if he did that chip damage over there rather than over there, he wouldn't have had the Joe Gun over there right now being very annoying. So that kind of gives a potential for him to come back. Now you actually have to focus on that. So I think a little bit of misfocusing from Nicholas over here. And that's what I see more often into the Misty. Don't try to kill a Misty early on unless you actually got a full focus hard kill it, because that's the only unit that's actually healing on this field. It's same as like hitting a monkey early on, like the fire monkey early on. It's the hardest unit to actually take out. So in this case, I would say, yeah, also once again over here, well, if you Rain of Stone skill that, okay, then it's still fine. If you Rain of Stone skill that, then it's all fine. Said nothing about that. But yeah, in this case, the monkey pretty much did not really participate in this match whatsoever. So was not really the greatest of drafts out there, mainly because it was denied by the Shiho that you just couldn't get like a good rotation in for an AoE strip. So the AoE strip does seem to be interesting and important for a Dark Monkey. But let's see about future matches. So the next draft that they have is kind of similar on the style where we do have 3 AoE strips right now for the monkey, which makes the monkey a lot more interesting. On the other side, we do have an AoE strip over there. We do have AoE strip over there. Good old Changpeng. Haven't seen that one in a while. What do you ban over here? Because I think the banning on the left side is pretty hard. Okay, goes for the Hey Gang ban over there. I think that Nicholas definitely does have an upper hand in this draft once again, because Laura should move, Sibala should move. Yep, actually has a swift Laura. Really nice if you want to play it this way. So if this moves, okay, did not fully land. Oh, there is a Nem trap on that Gianna. Okay, Nem trap on the Gianna is really nasty. But then again, Gianna also missed some. If the Gianna actually landed on the monkey match would have, or like if the Laura landed on the this one, it would have been over. So maybe more of a setup for like other units doing very well. Gianna on the Nem trap, that's an interesting take. Like using your Gianna just as a Laura counter, that's on ladder, I would not do that. If you know who you're fighting in the tournament, maybe. But let's see if the monkey has enough juice to actually start killing over here, because it had an AoE stun rotation. But after the AoE stun rotation, it did not really do anything as of yet, right? So that's the funny thing. Like, I've seen a few monkey drafts right now, and I've seen like also a bunch of others. And in the end, it does have a higher win rate, but I feel like that the monkey in this case, like if the monkey was an Okeanos over there, I think you had a lot more cycling. I think you had a lot more chance of stunts. I think you had a lot more resets, and an Okeanos would have simply done better over there, right? So then looking at match 3, once again, kind of running it back on the side of Yan Hong. Over here, we have a fair bit of strips as well. We only have 1 fast unit in this one right here. Do we still go for Shiho in the end? No, actually it goes for a weird Jessica. That's kind of interesting. So in this case, I think that this draft is a lot better because there's no proper follow-up on the side of Nicholas right now. So we have this one going in. Yep, boost the Joe gun. Makes sense. You now go for skill 3. Yep, actually does not fully land, but then perfect blade. And this is where you get perfect rotation. So if you start off with a like AoE strip and everything, then it's super good. So I think next to a Joe gun, if you get your Joe gun off, it's definitely really strong, because, yeah, that's why you just straight up sees like, yo, that was just very clean of a victory, because Nicholas was not speed contesting well enough on that Joe gun. Then, funny enough, in their match 4, the Dark Monkey was not picked up. In the match 5, it was actually pre-banned, so it was well respected over there. I still think it was more enabled by the other units, and Okeanos could have kind of done a similar job, but in the end, well respected over there. Also, if you already have an Okeanos on the field, pairing both is definitely not bad. Or if the enemy steals like the Okeanos, you kind of have your own kind of style of Okeanos as well, which cares less about elements, I would say. So moving on to the next match, also Yan Hong once against Max Noob. I actually have no clue who Max Noob is, ranked 10, so I think it's a name change. I'm not really sure who it is. But once again, Yan Hong going for that Joe gun into the Dark Monkey right there. So let's see what we paired it up with. We paired it up with a Sierra Gianna in this case. So once again, double AoE strip. I think also both AoE strip move in front of the monkey. I haven't seen the monkey do too much damage yet, so I think it's more of a max accuracy. So it's probably like a speed HP accuracy build. And I think it's just additional damage artifacts by the looks of it. I don't think it's really focused on any damage whatsoever, rather than just from a little bit of chit damage. It's not like a crit rate 4 or anything, but let's look more at like how much damage he can actually perform if he gets like a proper showcase in this match. So let's see, we actually have the enemy outspeed once again. We have seen that before where the Shiho interrupts the Joe gun, and therefore it was pretty bad. In this case, we go for the interrupt on the Gianna. Is definitely a strong one as well, but does the Dark Monkey need a Gianna to actually work? Is an interesting one as well, because Gianna already has stun, Dark Monkey has more stuns. Is it really that much of a necessity? I'm not sure. But let's see what we can do with this match with that Layla over here as well. So let's speed this up once again a little bit more. So, okay, we actually take all of the skills. We get good stuns over there. So now we can put something in the scroll trap. Probably goes for, okay, goes for the Layla. Han would have not been a bad take as well, but still had to provoke, so was not that bad of an issue. Okay, we take that out. Yeah, actually, Layla would have been the better one. So in this case, Monkey's just standing there, not really doing all too much in this matchup, it seems. But it's mainly the matches where you're sitting in the driver's seat, where you just get all of your turns off, or maybe he procs out at the right moment, and then you start stunning the whole team or something like that. That's where his strength is at. But for these matches so far, I felt like, sure, the Monkey won a fair bit of matches, but I don't really think he was like the winning factor as much. Like, I still feel like that every draft of the Monkey thus far, an Okeanos would have done same or better. And that's kind of interesting, actually. But let's see if we find some future matches where it is actually a lot better. And as mentioned before, if Okeanos is already stolen, then the Dark Monkey gets incredibly strong, because you can get your Okeanos in while not having Okeanos, or the enemy already has Okeanos. Or you can go for a double Okeanos so they cannot ban one. Or if they ban one, you have 2 times chance of AoE stunning. So there's a lot of options out there. AoE armor break, of course, does help. But in this kind of bruiser matchups that we have back and forth, sure, getting an armor break also on that skill 2 with a strip and a steal is really nice. But yeah, I see a lot of matches where he just simply gets very controlled. So let's see what that looks like in a future match. Funny enough, in match 2, it was once again banned and respected, which is once again a very interesting one, because in the end, in the previous match, he didn't do anything. Then the third match, pretty much a repeat kind of style. 2 AoE strippers over here. Does have that Laura in there. I'm not too sure what people would play if they don't have one of the LD strippers. Jogun is gone at this moment. I do think that this Laura was on a Swift build, so Laura should be outspeeding the Shiho, especially because of high lead. No, actually, the Shiho is faster. Oh, wait, maybe switch. Yeah, definitely switch, because that is Fio right now. Ooh, went for the only unit that is potentially 100 res. That is definitely not a great take. Can we actually land the strip over here? Does not fully land the strip. Can you land the strip over here? Does actually land the strip. And then we have the light monkey pretty much doing dark monkey stuff, but arguably better. Well, there's no armor break, though. Like, that's the only worst part. Like, that is the really strong part of the monkey. If it procs out at the right moment, and it goes for like, yo, my whole team stunned into your whole team stunned, that is why it's an insanely strong unit right there. But that is with a lot of units. Like, the light monkey, once again, kind of does that job better. But the armor break is definitely there, which makes it very strong. And I would say the anti-cleanse, like, there's a whole bunch of units that would just straight up work on the anti-cleanse and make it work from there. So in the end, it's more the proc elevation that made it super strong. But anti-cleanse actually in this matchup also once again didn't really do anything. I would say, in all honesty, an Okeanos would have done the same job over there. Sure, it would have maybe had a little bit more issues of stunning you, but it would have done more damage as well, and it would have had a chance to reset and absorb attack bar and all of that kind of good stuff. So, to be honest, in so far every match I've seen, I think that an Okeanos would have done same job or maybe even better. But let's just see about future matches, because there's still a whole bunch of matches. Like, people are actually using this a fair bit. This is actually a point where you could land that, yeah, for an armor break over there, that's actually kind of nice. Like, an Okeanos could not have done that. Okeanos could have maybe prevented you getting stunned over there, but an Okeanos could not have done, like, the armor break setup for Chao over there. Okay, then we have some matches from Kaeli and Bao. Once again, similar style. 2 AoE strips with a Dark Monkey in there, and the enemy already has the Okeanos. So this is exactly the perfect moment where I would say is like, yo, enemy already has Okeanos, but you're still able to steal a kind of Okeanos kind of style of unit as well. Do get a very good Dark Hacker over here. This is also where the Dark Monkey becomes very interesting, because the Josephine, if you stun the Josephine and you have like the anti-cleanse, Josephine will just remove the anti-cleanse, but she doesn't actually get the turn. She still remains stunned. So that is definitely a nice one. I'm not sure if she can proc out of that. Probably will be able to be procking out of that. We don't have Sierra in this case on that side. So do we actually move first? Yep, this Jogun is fast enough. Does move first, okay. In this case, it is a little bit awkward, because if you go for skill 3 right now, Josephine would move, still decides to go for the skill 3. Makes sense. Do we go for the monkey? Does go for the monkey, okay. Do we land this skill over here? Does land that over there. That's all good. You would go for skill 1 on that. Did not get a stun, is a pretty much a low chance right there. You have to start pushing this back or put this in the scroll. I think in this case, yep, puts it in the scroll. That's totally fine. And then from here, we just go for... Actually, the Layla combination with this, I kind of like that draft. Like, the Layla is provided by so many buffs from the Monkey, because Monkey has 3 potential buffs, or 3 potential debuffs. So, in the combination with Layla, Dark Monkey is a lot better than Okeanos. That's actually a very fair take. That is way, way stronger because there's 3 debuffs on this one, whereas the Okeanos is just 1 debuff. So there's the stun, the armor break, and the block recovery or block cleanse, whatever it's called. Block cleanse it is. So yeah, very well played in this one over here. Also, yeah, just good to have a Jogun this fast. So far, I would say best friend of the Dark Monkey for the Dark Monkey spammers has been Jogun thus far. Like, that's definitely something we do tend to see. Okay, Jogun is actually stolen right now, and I think this match also did still have a monkey in there. So the Jogun steal is definitely one of those things. Have to steal it because the monkey will be on the enemy side. And just the combination of that is that strong. Does also have a light twin angels, which is super strong with that assumably as well. But still prefers to go for Gianna. No, actually goes for the light twin angels. Okay. Zinazek over here. That's a good counter into the Dark Monkey too. So definitely some interesting plays on the field right now. What is the final pick on the side of Sherbeta? Ooh, those are some difficult. I'm not sure if this, like, I kind of like that. To be honest, Gojo is kind of fine, but I kind of like the Pony more because Pony enabled you to ban this. In the end, we have a Dark Monkey ban, so we're just going to skip on to the next. But yeah, Dark Monkey respect in here, absolutely. Okay, next match. Once again, we have the Jogun on the side of Sherbeta. So Kalian Bao over here is the one that does have the Dark Monkey. So does he still go for Dark Monkey in here? Still goes for Dark Monkey, even though he already has the Okeanos. Also, most likely he's gonna get outsped. I'm not too sure about this draft on the side of Kalian Bao. I'm not sure if I'm liking it that much. I think it's kind of okay, but... okay, Okeanos is gone, but you still have your secondary Okeanos, which is kind of nice. Also has armor break setup for the Pater. We have seen that with Guts can do an insane amount of damage if you have good runes on it. But issue right now is Jogun. Do you actually boost enough? No, I don't think so. That Heigang is pretty darn fast as well. Okay, decides not to go for anything. Yeah, that's just the awkward moment. Like, Pater and Heigang would have definitely made it move. So that's just kind of awkward and bad. And for that reason, you can go for... No, actually, skill 2 is better right now for the single target strip. That is actually a good thing as well. But then again, Okeanos kind of does the same thing with the single target strip on the S2, and it's a double chance. So in this case, Okeanos would have done better, but then again, Okeanos was banned. So hey, then it's like a fair take, right? After this, do we go for bombs? We do go for bombs. We go for explodes. Yep, lots of damage coming in there. In this case, the stun. Actually, the cleanse once again. Ooh, that's a good counter. No, wait, he's actually countering the Zinazek. That's true. Because Zinazek is trying to cleanse those, but you can't. So again, Zinazek, it's actually a lot better. True, true. Okay, interesting one right there. And that is the victory for Kalian Bao. More of an interesting play, but once again, still AoE strip focus. Okay, so in this case, Yan Hong does start off with his Jogun. So Jogun enables more of the Dark Monkey. I think so far it's like pretty much mainly Dark Monkey based when you have Jogun. We have seen Kalian Bao do it without, but then you still need like 2 other AoE strips, like either Gianna, Heigang, or something like that. So it's interesting to see in that much of a bruiser meta where everything is like single target strip related, or a lot more single target strip related. That still some AoE, like double AoE strip into a monkey seems pretty strong. You can also simply just use the monkey into a Oliver, but I think it is better to have it like slightly different. Like, I would say it's actually still pretty good. Nyx in there is also a really interesting take, so let's see how that actually would work out. Pooh, what is your final draft? I also seen a fair bit more of Annavels, mainly on the APEC region. I'm not sure if I'm really sold on the Annavel neither. It does have a long armor break, which is really nice. It does have the cleanse and those kind of things. Most likely it's 100 res. But let's see. I think that's probably a removal of the Vermos. Has to be removal of the Vermos. Other side could be, okay, removing that. Yeah, makes sense. Otherwise, you would have had a lot of turn denial and more immunities and prolonged on buffs. So let's see. We have a resistance lead on this side right now. So the resistance lead, does it actually work? Does work to resist this right now. Does also work to resist that. You get an awkward turn, however, though. But getting an awkward turn on a Dark Monkey is actually better than Okeanos because you can steal the immunity from the other side again, which is kind of nice. So we go for skill 3. We go for resets. Did actually get all resets. That is very beneficial right there. So I would say that Jian Hong is in drive seat right now. Also reset on that. Yep, that's very good resets from the Nyx because Nyx reset is not 100% activation. Going for Scroll Trap right now is a little bit awkward because the moment that it comes out of the Scroll Trap, it is high on the attack bar. It's not like the back that you have with the other unit. But then again, it does deny like violent procs right there. So that's definitely the right part to do it for, just to make sure it's not getting any fire procs. And now the extra chip damage of the armor break helps out, but as noticeable. These things are not bolt on damage whatsoever. Like, they're full on... Ooh, NFL coming back. That's still kind of dangerous. But yeah, these things are just bolt on, I think, on like add damage, minus damage, and just fully bolt on like I'm going to stun you. And that's the main thing about an Okeanos. Okeanos has a lot more stun potential and a lot more damage. Big difference, however, is you have the base speed on the Dark Monkey, and therefore he's very easy to rune, whereas the Okeanos is definitely a bit harder to rune. Ooh, are you gonna lose this? Are you going to lose this? Good stun, though, but I think you're gonna lose... Yeah, you lose this to the NFL. There's no way that you actually beat an NFL with these two units. Like, that's also kind of an issue on a Dark Monkey draft, I would say. It's fairly easy to start lacking damage, because none of these units... Like, he took 1 million more turns than the enemy, but he didn't have any damage whatsoever. And in this case, yeah, ooh, good stun with a seal 2 turns. Another stun. Does he actually... Another seal? Another stun? Yeah, okay, that's how you can make things work. Wait, can you go for... No, wait, you could still sleep rotation. Yes, sleep rotation. No, wait. No way Pooh actually makes this work still. He did get a fair bit of, like, seals and everything. But seal Nyx, that's an interesting one. But yeah, no, NFL wins this in the end, right? Yeah, should win this in the end. I think I would have waited one more turn with that third skill. Yeah, no, he wins from this part on. There's no way. Unless you get, like, 16,000 stuns in a row. There's absolutely no way. But yeah, I would say that main issue was bottom team, not enough damage. And now we just take it out. Yep, GG's. Okay, match 5. Once again, has the monkey in there. We do have a joke gun in there, but we already have high speed contestants on the other side. And we did see that that was a hard counter. We also see a Layla once again, which, well, actually triple strip at the moment. 1 speed lead. There's 1 speed lead over here. Not too sure about an early pick of the Gojo, but is an interesting one. Pooh does get for his Nyx. Could be losing his speed lead, but you could be losing speed lead on both sides. But I think the Athena is more dominant that you have to remove that. Actually, no. Speed lead removed on that. Nyx removed over here. I think the Nyx... Well, it would have made you 4 turn. That's pretty insane, though. That is definitely a thing. But let's see. First turn goes to the Athena. Athena could go for an S2, S3 because there was not that much attack power on anything. Probably from here goes on the monkey, I would say. No, actually goes on the Layla. Okay, so monkey might take over match from here. Well, let's see, let's see. We do have stun potential on the monkey. Yeah, because of that stun potential on the monkey, it's maybe not as bad. Monkey can't do anything. Strips over there, very strong. Also despair over there, slows, potentially armor breaks. Yeah, from here it's just like the monkey is kind of participating but not doing too much because it did get the AoE stun. So I would say monkey is more for turn 1ing than for turn 2ing. If you're turn 2ing, you have to proc out of stuns. Like that's kind of the name of the game. Like if you're procking out the stuns, then your turn 2 potential is very strong, but otherwise it's not gonna work. Okay, next match with Kaylee and Bao once again. So we have 1 AoE strip over here, actually locking in both of them. I want to see both on the field. I want to see what his turn rotation is, like who's faster between the two. I think he would make Dark Monkey in front of the Okeanos, but let's actually see. Ooh, good AoE strips over here. So there's triple AoE strip on double speed lead over here. What do we go over there? We go for that. Okay, that's probably a must remove. Hey Gang removed on the other side. Maybe Oliver removed? I'm not too sure. Not too sure if this has enough damage to kill that, though. That's kind of the issue that I might see. Hey Gang, Oliver remove. Okay, makes sense. Exactly as said. Then who should take first turn? Well, Twin Angels might take first turn as well. The Twin Angels are super fast. They take first turn. Twin Angels are super fast. Take first turn. And also second turn. Ooh, this is a Nem Trap on the Eludia. But I think it's okay. For that reason, actually decided not to go for the S3 because he noticed the Nem Trap over there was too obvious of a Nem Trap. We go for the S2. It's also a Nem Trap. Okay, double Nem Trapper in there. Monkey God went for a lot of Nem Trappers. That's definitely an interesting one over there. So Nem Trap on you, Nem Trap on you. Okay, with this skill 3, and then we go for the next skill as well. Should probably take it out. Yep, that's a lot of damage. Wow. Well played by Monkey God. Absolutely. Good Nem Traps right there. But most of the time, that's one of those things that just works once. Is it gonna work twice? I'm not sure. Monkey God right away stealing some of the AoE strip, so the monkey has less potential. But the issue is that Gallimbal has about every strip in game, so light Twin Angels would definitely show up. Hey Gang is on the field once again. Also, the speed lead potential for you is kind of awkward right now because the Oliver is in the ban, this one is in the ban, that one is in the ban. So the only leads that you could be looking at is like weird shit. Like I was thinking like Chandras or Twin Angels, which kind of don't really pair too well with that. But over here we see like a good setup over here once again. Like the man has everything. The Jemire, good kind of work, but it's definitely awkward. Ooh, good old Nefties. I'm kind of liking that as well. Like the double strip into a Nefties. That's solid. So you kind of need a speed lead over here as well. But what speed lead does actually fit? Not really anything, because if you go Samath could be reset by that, so it's really not too great neither. But I would almost say that you have to be looking at a Samath. But issue is that it's kind of a desperation move as well. Can kind of see why. But the thing is, you kind of have to remove this, but this thing is going to outspeed you. But these two are going to get screwed by this thing. So I think it's an easy ban on this or easy ban on that. And then Kaylee and Bao should have a relatively easy match. Okay, actually goes for this. Still should be a fine match for Kaylee and Bao, because Kaylee and Bao is just crazy fast. I do expect this Heigang to outspeed this Monkey. Okay, we do actually have that S3. Do we have enough attack bar? Yes, we do. Yeah, this Monkey is just crazy fast as well. Do get stuns over there, do get stuns over there, and as long as nothing procs out, it's very much GG. So, this is definitely by the rune quality of Kaylee and Bao. So, if you want to run this Monkey, a good, fast Heigang is absolutely guarded and absolutely a must. Like, you could go for a Swift Monkey, but so far I've seen none of them play like Swift Monkey style, and I don't think it's the right way to play. But this match is very much over. Okay, let's look at third match. Once again, Okeanos Sierra on the side of Kaylee and Bao. He definitely still likes to lock in Okeanos over the Monkey, which is very understandable. I think an Okeanos is more of a fit for slot 2, slot 3, whereas the Monkey is more fit for slot 3, slot 4, maybe slot 5. But so far, I've mostly been seeing it being picked up in 3 and 4. And Okeanos is definitely positioned for 2. So there we have the combination of the both of them with that Heigang again. So that's definitely a strong combination. He's trying to overcome that with an Asher where Heigang would not be as dominant. It's not really going to help you out. I think he rather should have went for a Heigang in this position, because he does know that the moment you lock in Gianna, you're going to be fighting that Heigang, and that Heigang becomes a must ban. Ooh, Sonya on there. Sonya has a good counter against like Heigang potentially, because you can simply work your way around killing something right away. But then we have a very strong picked up Athena over here, and the Athena most likely will signal that it has to be a Oliver ban over here. Athena's faster than all of that. And then if Athena's on the field, it will absolutely rain shit up on this one. If you have the speed lead and you have no speed lead, well, you could go for a speed buff into this, and then you could potentially kill one of those two. That could actually be strong. So the Sonya might still have some potential to be in the match. Yeah, Sonya might have some potential to be dangerous in the match, because the boost of you into you, if you are faster than you, will be very strong. And we're actually going to see that. So let's see if that actually does work out. Does actually have a full speed lead advantage as well. So the Athena in this case is a little bit awkward, because the Athena is just simply not going to do anything. So speed buff right now, and then S2 would definitely take out the Athena or the Monkey. Yep. Big issue I see, however, I think that's actually a bad take, because taking out the Athena would have been, no, actually Athena would have been annoying, but I can 100% see this matchup being cleaned up by you and you on a 2 against 3. Like, absolutely. Like, we go for that right now. Okay, we hit everything. Yep. We have AoE stuns. Actually, you are faster. Oh, interesting that you are faster. So we have that. Well, maybe it's faster because of no lead. Like with lead, it would be fast. So we have all hits over there. Sure. Then we have a rotation coming in from you with AoE stuns. And this time around on armor breaks. That's an insane amount of damage on an armor break. And then we just simply go for the cleanup. Have to check. Okay, definitely on violent. Well, 100% expected by the looks of that speed. And yeah, from here, it's just a simple cleanup. Can your S2 actually clear this? No, cannot clear this, but it's full reset, so not an issue. Also, an armor break setup, bomb can land, but I think it's a little bit too late at this moment. Good damage from that Gianna, though. 2.4, that's insane. Probably high attack one or so. But yeah, definitely well played by Kaylee Bao right there for actually having like 4 potential very dangerous units. And it was enabled by also having that Athena on will. So that once again shows how important will runes are if you play a lot of Heigang. Okay, and then in the future matches against Monkey God, did not use any of it. Then we have the finals between Pooh and Kaylee Bao. Only in the first match the Monkey was used, so let's see how the Monkey is used over here. We once again have one AoE strip this time around, not a second one. Draft is also kind of like hard countering the Monkey with cleanses. Well, then again, has the anti-cleanse, so that kind of works. Do we respect it where it's banned right now? I'm not too sure. The FIFA chat also feels in a little bit of a weird-ish position, I would say. I could see a world where you just simply ban out the Heigang, but also no speed lead on... Oh, wait, there is speed lead on this side. strange draft, I would say, both sides. Like, I'm not really understanding. Well, I kind of understand the NFL Knicks combination being very annoying, very strong 4-turn debuffs. That's a lot. That's a lot. So let's see what we have over here. We have you moving first, but we have an awkward turn simply because, well, you could go for the monkey, goes for the monkey. Monkey will steal your invis from that one, or your that from that. Yes. We can go for skill 3 right now, but it will actually not be working that well. I think it would have been better to S2 reset this rather than go for an S3 because this S3 is completely removed. And now we still get like a Ghost Sprayer off. It would have been better if the Ghost Sprayer was reset in there. So you wouldn't have had like a full HP heal. You would have still had this hit on you, however. Interesting that he... Oh yeah, wait, if he goes for the S2, it doesn't really work. So we have to reset over there. Yep, then we go in a second rotation for that skill still. And in this case, it actually does not work against the Xenozek. You could boost up the monkey. No, actually goes for just a little bit of chip damage. Yeah, I think he's sitting in the drive seat over here right now. Ooh, that's a bad proc right there. Can go for the stun. Does go for the stun. Do we hit enough? He has damage on this skill 1. 11k takes it out. Not bad, not bad. So yeah, the monkey as a counter into the Xenozek is actually very interesting. But it's going to be enough. Ooh, did resist 1. Did land the other. We got a lot of debuffs. Okeanos actually throwing back like 2 or 3 turn armor break right up your ass. That's definitely a nice one too. More stun potential, probably stuns the Okeanos, does stun the Okeanos, otherwise Okeanos had Rain of Stones, would have absolutely been detrimental for the side of Pooh. Stun over there, we can go for some heals. Would you go for heals and immunity? No, actually goes for Switch of Destiny. Okay, is low on cooldowns. Ooh, if that sleep landed and it went for cycles, it would have been very bad, but in the end he can take it out from there. 1 turn away from the bomb. Can we go for the... Yeah, now we just go for the hits over there. We reset this. Even if we get stunned right now, it doesn't matter as much because Viva Gel does have skills. Well counted by Pooh that the Viva Gel had skills. Do we still have enough chance to get a little bit of chip healing going in both sides? If this are additional turns right now, you would have been in a bad state. Okay, this is also perfect rotation for healing going in. Does still have the bomb in the next turn though. I was like, you would have rather seen the immunity being sticking in here, but this is also why having a Viva Gel on a crit rate 4 is just very important, because you can see the chip damage from that Viva Gel just doing like chip work all the time. Additional turn is glanced. Ooh, during the glance still landed. Unfortunate, unfortunate. So in this case, armor breaks, no armor breaks. You kind of want to go for healing, but you kind of also just want to go for damage. Because every time that you don't go for damage, he will go for healing. Yep, Viva Gel damage did kick it in. So that's also the final match where the Dark Monkey was used. In the matches following up on this, Kaelian Bao did not use... Or did he use the Dark Monkey? Wait, there was a Dark Monkey over here. Was it banned out that I... Oh, no, wait. There's actually more matches on Dark Monkey. So let's actually continue checking. Let's see what we have on Dark Monkey over here. Once again, 2 AoE strips with an attack buff. The attack buff is a little bit awkward because there's already attack buff on you. So I'm not too sure about this match altogether. Did miss that on the strip as well. Yeah, I'm not really feeling the draft of Kaelian Bao too much on this case. Mainly because if this was an Okeanos, it kind of feels stronger at this moment, maybe. Well, it would have been more susceptible to the Shiho and the unit over there. So in this case, definitely goes for an S3 right here. Did get a stun on this one. Did get an additional turn. Drops that on the monkey. I think monkey's going to have a bad match at this, doesn't he? Okay. Good amount of stuns, debuffs, and everything. Okay. Did not actually manage to kill it. But I think the Gianna bomb, most of these Giannas have like a fair bit of attack. Armor breaks right now definitely do help out for the chip damage. Like armor break, attack buff make even units that normally don't deal that much damage still have a little bit of chip damage. But we're looking at like 5Ks per hit. And that's definitely not that much. Can we get AoE stuns? We are glance though, 0 stuns. That definitely doesn't help you out right there. And we already have a next scroll trap. Waiting with the scroll trap. Unit comes back. So in the end, I expected no damage from the side of Kaelian Bao, but ooh, still could be bad. Still could be bad because killing this thing will be pretty difficult. Do we stun it? Does actually stun it? Yeah, I think that's Kaelian Pooh wins from here. Yeah, that was kind of the thing where you have too many support/CC units, but simply no damage. And that's kind of where the monkey does end up being pretty bad. Like, in the end, would you say RNG won the match? Well, if your match is long enough, RNG is going to happen at some point, and therefore you might lose at some point. So I would say that the Kovaci pick was a little bit awkward because then the Ciara, the only damage was banned, and therefore it looks kind of bad. Okay, next match, the Dark Monkey was actually respected. I'm not sure about this respect, to be honest, because I think that a combination of these two into a Changpong is incredibly strong. But once again, double AoE strip is the way to go. Yeah, and if we quickly look at this match, I think that Dark Monkey... No, I think that Dark Monkey would not have been as much of a strong showcase as the Changpong over here. Changpong, like with the resets, with the pushbacks and everything... Sure, you did miss that one over there, which is definitely unfortunate. Wait, would it be very bad because of that? No, because of the Changpong, you had the reset. So, thing is, if you were just betting on proccing out or missing any skills with the Nyx, fighting the Dark Monkey would have been a way better fight than fighting the Changpong over here, like 100,000%. Then for the final match, let's see what we have. Do we have a Dark Monkey in there or not? Nope, no Dark Monkey in this case. So he kind of did feel that he could have went for a Dark Monkey in the final pick, but in the end, something else was better over there, and I do kind of agree. So yeah, those are all of the Dark Monkey picks for the Asia Cup. Did I feel like he was worth like a super crazy high win rate kind of style? I'm not sure. I feel like he's kind of on Okeanos level. Then again, Okeanos does have a fair bit of win rate himself as well, but it's definitely a little bit more spammed. I would say mainly into Josephine's, it's a lot better. But you definitely have to work with 2 AoE strip units to kind of get him to full potential. So often it was like Hey Gang, often it was Joe Gun. And then we saw like pairs of Gianna or we saw pairs of like other stuff. But mainly it was focused towards like AoE stripping double with speed leads such as Sierra. You have to keep in mind with Oliver, it's a little bit worse unless you actually make your Oliver on damage. And then the armor break from the Monkey makes it a strong pair on the Oliver, because crit rate Oliver can do a fair bit of damage on armor break. So that's kind of an option that you could go for if you go towards more of a damage Oliver. I think all of the builds were just catered around max accuracy. So in the case of the Monkey, he does start off with low accuracy, but he has high base speed. I think all of them were violent and all of them were moving pretty much in between Okeanos and then the follow-up units coming after. So Hey Gang first, or like AoE strips first, Okeanos, then Songcheng Lao, and then like Oliver or whatever else you want to use after that. I think that is the right turn order that you would go for. Currently mine is not ruined yet. The moment I start RTA, I will definitely rune this up as well, because I definitely do think he is a very strong unit. And he's relatively easy to build because all you're looking for is just a bit of speed. You don't need like a 190 set because of the base speed. That makes things very simple. He's very tanky in the first place. I don't think you go for crit rate or anything like that, because in the end, his damage scaling, as mentioned, is not really that crazy because he's attack scaling and he doesn't really have attack in the first place. If you want to go crit rate on him, I would highly recommend to go for the artifacts of attack base on him, which will help out a bit. But I think in most cases, he's just tanky. And then for artifacts, you just go additional damage artifacts or minus stats. I think that is the way to go. You could go like minus on wind, so you're survivable against a Sonya. That is definitely a good option out there. And then the right side is just some additional damage artifacts. I think that's probably the best way to go, because anything else, I could not really see it do too much for him. Like crit damage up and those kind of things. If you're not going to focus on crit rate, that doesn't really help you. So that's my whole review on the Dark Monkey. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe. You know where the buttons are. And see you as always in the next one.
Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.